No. So what they're saying, right? Just be clear for our audience, because I actually read that article. I didn't look at that. But let's what they said was
dropping gems like we preaching.
Welcome to the Jury's Out podcast. This is G Toussaint. I'm here with my co-hosts Jack and Everett.
Yo, what up? It's good, people. What up?
And this is a very special episode. We got Bridget Brantley and Rafael Ventura. Say hello to the audience.
Hey y'all, what's up?
Hello.
All right, and we got a very special episode today. We're gonna be discussing banking and establishing your credit and loans and operating a non-for-profit. and the struggle of such. Yeah. But before we start, let's thank our sponsors. Our sponsors, like every other week, is Hopkins Law Group. This is where we shoot our episodes. We want to start Mr. Hopkins and the Hopkins Law Group for allowing us to record these very special episodes in there.
Right. That's right. Thank you very much.
And remember, if you like what we're watching and you have comments, leave it in the comment section, because we have a very special prize for the next couple episodes. If you comment and like and subscribe, we're going to pick someone every week and give out some free MLS tickets at Yankee Stadium.
Nice. And they good seats.
Home games, Yankee Stadium.
Not no nosebleed joints, man. These should just type.
Yes, so, but you can comment too.
Yeah, because I'm about to tell my students, like, y'all, we gotta go outside real quick.
Can I get 30 comments? We'll take it.
That's it. That's what we need.
We'll take it.
100%.
How you get the tickets from them? That's on you.
We'll figure it out. I'm gonna be at a game.
Well, okay. So let's get a little longer introduction. I know, Bridget, you're not new to the audience, but let them know just in case.
I'm not. So shout out to y'all, because they brought me back. So actually, I feel good because I probably did a good job the first time. So appreciate that. Yeah. So I am Bridget Brantley. I am the founder of the People's Assembly, which is a nonprofit organization born out of the George Floyd movement. It is my duty to change the narrative for my community. So that's with our youth activism, social justice awareness, civic engagement, you name it, we trying to do it. And I'm just here to show people what you can see, what can happen when a young mother that is in the struggle with the movement and is not like falling off to the wayside and just saying like, hey, yeah, I was outside for George Floyd and there's no more like activism. So this is the People's Assembly is continuously assembling the people by any means necessary. Shout out to my good old boy, Malcolm.
Nice. And Ralph, introduce yourself to the audience.
Hey, good evening, everyone. I'm Rafael Ventura. I am a relationship manager for a financial institution. Been in the business for a little over 5 to 10 years. And one of the biggest things that drives me to go to work every day is just to help our community. I think that our community needs a lot of help when it comes down to financial literacy, also building credit, also, just helping themselves financially, because credit is king right now. So thank you guys for bringing me in.
Thank you, man. Yeah, we look forward to learning from you as well, man. Yeah.
Yes, because I need some more advice on my credit.
So that's it. Credit. That's why I thought this would be such a great episode. Yes. Because I know this is your first business that you've ever run.
Yes, this is. I can't believe, and it sometimes sounds weird because I'm like, this is just my passion. And then I realize like, no, this is a business that needs finances to survive. And I feel like if I had more education on how to run my business, I think I would probably be able to run it more successfully. Not saying that it's not successful now, but just having more keys and access to different forms of information that I may need for my org, because we're not like a big organization like a St. Jude where people just know like St. Jude does good work, so I'm gonna just write it off and give them money. And it's like, for me, when I do like receive donations, like they're for things that are, I guess, they're for things that are to call to action. So if I want to do something for my community, like a back to school drive, that's the call to action. Like, and you're gonna see it flourish. Like this year, we were able to partner with a major record company where they donated like 37 Puma book bags, right? And that's a blessing because the connection was that the kids knew, like, oh, maybe is this from Nipsey Hussle's line, because we know the marathon continues. He did a collab with Puma, so just bringing that connection into the community. So it's like, it's not like I'm taking the funds and I'm like, yeah, I'm going here. No, it's like, this is going in my classroom because they need snacks. This is going to their uniforms because I got to wash their uniforms so they can have clean uniforms for the week. So it's like, sometimes I find myself coming out of my own pocket. And I'm pretty sure there's other ways of me getting like funding without it coming out of my own pocket.
Using other people's money.
Yeah, because using my money ain't it right now.
So Randy, when dealing with clients, is there a big difference in how you operate them, the kind of advice you give them from a non-for-profit and for-profit business, or how you evaluate them?
Honestly, it's the same role. It's the same road. Even if they have a nonprofit or a regular LLC, it will still be the same answer. You know, this is the steps that you need to take in order to get, let's say, a line of credit or maybe a business loan. When it comes down to the nonprofit, they do have to provide more documentation.
Oh, even more?
Even more, yeah.
So I was gonna ask, like, so somebody who is just starting out their business, right? Obviously the business has no credit. What do they need to show to get, a good amount of credit to start their business?
Awesome, and that's a great question. So credit, because even though you have a business, that business is registered to a person, to an individual. So your personal credit has to be there. And that's the reason why I'm very passionate when it comes down to, hey, let's educate, the community. Let's educate our kids, and show them that even if you're 15, 16, we could start helping you build credit. Therefore, by the time you're 18 and you decide what you want to do, you have at least one foot inside the door.
So how would an 18-year-old, 19-year-old build credit? Because, you have to be 18-year-old to open a bank account, right?
It depends.
Okay.
No,
you could be younger than that.
Yes, as long as, for example, there are a few institutions that have student accounts.
Okay.
Right? You do have to kind of like co-sign, an adult has to be in that account. But one of the best ways to help your kids build credit, just add them as an authorized user to your credit card.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah. So even if they're 13, 14, you can add them to the credit card. You don't have to give them that credit card.
I'm not gonna give him a credit card. I might buy a fucking Lamborghini or some shit.
Roadblocks will be through the roof. Okay? What? Pokemon cards?
Right.
Add them and frame it.
Make sure you're using it.
Okay.
You're using it. Make sure you're making the payments on time. By the time that child is 18, guarantee 700, 720.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
And what age can you start doing that?
There's no age.
No
So
age.
even like if they're 5 years old.
There's no age.
There's no age.
You turn the mic up. I want to make sure I'm hearing this shit right. Because I'm dead ass. Turn them up.
Which number?
I don't know. I don't know. What's that, 4? I don't know.
Just turn it up.
Turn it up. Turn it up.
Turn it up.
Oh, that's Bridget. That's definitely, yeah.
That was definitely me.
My bad.
It's Brigitte.
Brigitte. My bad. I should know about that, right?
No, yeah, so there's no age. You can.
So I can add my 5 because I got kids. Right, I can add my 5-year-old to my credit card right now.
Yeah. All you need is just
What?
name. All you need is just their full name, date of birth. Some companies ask for their social security, others don't. So my recommendation, take advantage of that credit card hack.
God damn.
Now,
like,
what's the logic behind it? Like, why are they allowing? Because a 5-year-old's not going to use a credit line. So
Hey,
why?
speak for yourself.
I'm saying, but like, why is that an option?
So keep in mind, eventually that child is going to grow, right? So every company wants promotion. Every company wants, more authorized signers, more clients. So if you introduce, let's say, a Capital One credit card to a child, what he's going to know growing up is that, hey, I have a Capital One credit card. Let me go into Capital One and open a bank account. or let me find out what other products or services.
It's incentive.
So companies just want to promote themselves, and they allow you to add, anyone as an authorized user technically. Yeah.
And Bridget, have you started establishing your People's Assembly's relationship with banks and trying to figure out that direction?
So
on
we
the
do
finance?
we do bank with a financial institution because I know we can't name drop.
No,
Right?
you can name yours. That's fine. It's
You
up to
sure?
Yeah. Good one.
Okay, I'm just saying. I
If
don't
you
wanna-
want to.
I mean, yeah, we just gonna keep it, right. So we do, and I find myself like I'm putting more in my money, right, and which is good, right, for now. But it's like I want to be able to build the credit line for the People's Assembly, so it's more so where I am in the process of doing the same thing. Like if I got to build DPA, that means my credit got to be good as well. So between working all these jobs that I have, I tend to I'm now looking up information on how can I get my credit repaired, right? But when you look, I feel like that's what's missing in the community, right? Having that option to say like, okay, these are the things that is hindering you from getting let's say a 680. I ain't gonna jump through the roof, right? So like, and it's like, oh, these things are tied to you, and some people don't know. Like, I don't know about everybody else, but we know we had that one family member that put everything in such and such name, whether it be a car, whether it be a house, and they don't pay on it. And when that child gets older and they wondering like, why can't I establish a line of credit? It's because your great grandmother, that house you grew up in, is in your name, and you like, I don't even live there no more. So for me, that's what's hindering, like, for me to build that People's Assembly line of credit is like having the access to fix my credit, right? And knowing where to go. Like I remember one time, like at certain community boards, they had like workshops where somebody would come in, they do like a credit check, and then they'll say like, these are the things that are on your credit, and then they'll dismiss whatever was there for a long time. But right now, like I don't have no one I can go to find that out, if that makes sense.
Okay.
You have Ralph right here.
Oh yeah, wait, I lied. They be like, can we edit that part? I got somebody now.
Right.
But yeah, like that's my goal. Like I want to be able to say like, I want to do more for the People's Assembly.
Okay.
That's just it, and it all boils down to having the money to do so. Like I can have these great ideas and these great visions, but if the money ain't there, sometimes it goes to the wayside. Like I plan to. Back in when Wakanda Forever first came out, right? And I wanted to take the community members to the movie theater. I had my portion to pay the half, but I still had to come up with another portion. So I find myself like reaching out to other people, but I know that if I could have contacted somebody from maybe corporate from AMC, they would have been able to sponsor that for us. So it's like, I can't do it alone. And clearly, if I ain't got the credit, ain't nobody trying to give me no money, no type of way. So.
Right. So how much? Oh, no, go on. My bad.
No, and just to add to that, right? When you're starting a business, right? Sometimes we don't have $50,000 to invest in the business, right? Whether it's payroll, whether it's marketing, whether it's, hey, you know what? Let me get a spot and rent it out. So that's one of the reasons why I take it very personal when it comes down. Let me educate you. Let me inform you how you can be a successful, self-employed, right? Because credit is going to open the doors for you, right? So just to give you a little story, right? I have helped clients where they have $200,000, $300, $200,000 to $300,000 sitting in their bank account, and they come in for a personal loan and they get rejected because they don't have credit. And I have helped clients, that keeps less than $10,000 in their account, and they come in for a personal loan and they get approved. And then the difference is just that payment history, that history they have with credit. And then once you start using and leveraging credit, it's going to open the doors, because now you're not using your personal funds, right? Now you're using the white man's money. And I'll be honest with you guys, when you go out to buy a restaurant or invest in a restaurant or buy a home, you don't come out of pocket $500,000. No, all of that gets financed. Yeah, so I take it very personal.
So now, so when someone comes to you as a person and says, "Yeah, I want credit for this business," how much does their credit, have to play in you getting approved for a loan for that business? You know what I mean? Like obviously, their credit might be less than, what they need for that business to get off the ground. So how do you factor that into, getting their, how much money do they get based on their credit for the
That's a
business?
really good question. So it really depends on what type of, number one, what type of business they have, because there are business that are high risk, there are business that are low risk. So just an FYI, like real estate, it's a high risk business. Credit repair companies, they're high risk business, but credit, you're looking at anywhere from 680 to 700 to start. A lot of companies will work with you, and they'll give you a line of credit of $5,000 or up to $10,000 with a 680, 700 credit score.
So what if you have a business that's like a good idea? Or two questions. If you have a business that's a really good idea, or you want to pursue it further, but you have bad credit, how do you just have to repair your personal credit and it's not going to, or it's not going to get off the ground? Or is there a way to differentiate your business from your personal?
So in order to start getting funding for the business, remember that business is registered to a person. So anywhere you go, it's kind of like, all right, you're giving me all the documents for the business. Now, who's managing this business? Who's the owner of this business, or who's the member? And then they'll start asking you for your personal. So even though they might not do a hard inquiry on your personal credit, they still look at it, just to make sure that, hey, you didn't defraud 5 other banks, right? So they always do that soft credit check on your personal, just to make sure that you're someone reliable.
Gotcha.
And how does that factor into something like a non-profit?
So nonprofit, the problem with the nonprofit is that it's technically you're not making any money, right?
No. Listen, what Black China said? She said something is broke. Listen, we broke.
So nonprofit typically it's donations.
Broke 5 broke.
Right? It's partnership with other companies and things like that, and it's somewhat a high risk nonprofits, and you gotta make sure you have a good administrator. You gotta make sure you have a good administrator, because all the expenses, you want to make sure you can put that down for the taxes and keep them. Just in case if you get, audited by the IRS, you can have all the documentations, because they're very strict when it comes down to nonprofit.
So like even with this year, like I filed a 990. So when the People's Assembly was established, we went through a church who helps with organization start. So
What's a 990? I don't know what that is.
it's like a postcard that you got to send to the IRS, letting them know like what money you got in donations, because at the end of the day, people are going to file taxes and they're going to say, well, I donated,
Tax deductible. Gotcha.
right, I donated $50 to the People's Assembly, and when I do my 990, they're going to look like, okay, well, the People's Assembly received a $50 donation from here. So that's why, like, when people do send donations, I rather them send it like via PayPal, because PayPal gives like a tax statement that I can give to the people that donated. So it's like, okay, this is what it went to, this is where you can see, and I always make sure, like, put in the title what you're donating to and what it's for. So that way, when those people from them scary 3 letters come and, like, knock on my door, and I'm just like, nope, here's the file.
Now, is there a document you have to give them so they can deduct it as a donation?
So literally, it's just them giving me, I think I literally just give people my EIN, and it automatically, when they do their taxes, it automatically comes up that we're a nonprofit entity. So when they do their taxes, like, it won't be like a red flag. Like, and I also can give like a statement to them, like, hey, this person donated and this was the amount, and they could submit it to the IRS as well.
Do they audit, does the IRS audit like randomly, or do they audit only when they think something fishy's going on? Like, if you know.
They do audit randomly.
Okay.
Because you can do your taxes right now, right, for 2022, and it might take them 2 years to get to your taxes, right?
But so they'll audit me from like 2020 or something? That's what you're saying?
Yeah.
No. So let's say you did your taxes, right? Let's say this month, right, for last year, for 2022, and you got a crazy refund. They might not catch it right here and then, right? You got your money and everything. They might catch it 2 years later.
Got you.
Yeah, so that's the thing. It does take them some time. But
Yeah, I think you have to keep like your like let's say you take a bunch of deductions or whatever, and they're gonna audit you.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have the documentation to support your taxes for, I believe, 7 years.
No statute of limitations for IRS. Period.
There you go. Yep.
Hence why they call it Chicago guy, gangster.
Okay. But
Listen, I just make sure everything is like, what is it? T's crossed and I's dotted.
Yeah, dot your I's across the T's.
Yeah, like I'm not playing with nobody, like especially in that aspect, because what I've learned, especially in this movement, right? A lot of organizations came out of George Floyd, right? And not to be shady, right?
Scamming.
No shade to the movement, but you have organizations where you see them in certain places, like, how you here pushing this, and yet you trying to support the family of the victims, right? And I'm starting to notice that too. Like I've reached out to like bigger nonprofits just to even see if we could put partnership or collab, and like it goes unnoticed. And I realized DPA is a small nonprofit. We haven't had like, and I'm grateful, like we haven't had like a national, how do I say, you know how like when there's a shooting of an unarmed black person, like it makes national news, and your top lawyers come out, your top activists come out, right? And then it's like once that
Al Sharpton come out.
yeah, like I said, your top activists come out, and then when the smoke clears, right, and those families are still hurting, right, and still fighting, right, and the only time like you see them is when it's national news. And it's like, no, this is happening on local levels. Like if y'all can make it into the national, y'all need to be in our communities too, standing for the same thing. And day to day, not just cause it like, it angers me sometimes, because it's like certain conferences I want to go to, right? There's the Women of Power conference that they're having in Vegas, and there's so many different influential small business Black and brown women that I need to be in that space. But because I don't know somebody that knows somebody that can call somebody that can tell somebody to say, hey, this is DPA, this is the work that they're doing, this will be a great opportunity. Instead, I'm trying to raise money to get $5,000 to go to these conferences so I could get access to bring back the resources to my community. Like even me attending the Black Caucus in Albany, I did that because I know if I could connect to 100 people, that's 1,000 more services that can come into my community directly. That's 1,000 plus more services or resources that could come into my community. That's more me holding my elected officials accountable. Like, listen, I'm one of your constituents. Here I am. What you got for me, and what can we do together so we can build that partnership between the community and the elected officials as well. Sorry, y'all know I get on my tangent.
Nah, that's what's up, though. But the thing is, so Ralph, I thought I was gonna say Randy. Sorry. So what do you think? What do you think? One of her next steps should be, right? Because that's a very passionate statement. And if I owned a bank, right, then I would. If I heard somebody say that, I'd be like, yo, I gotta give you the money. Now, is it enough for her to go in there, sit down with somebody who works at the bank, and give that passionate speech? Or are there other things that she has to do on top of her reasoning?
No, honestly, as long as she has her documents, legitimate, in the sense of, hey, this is my business, this is what I do, this is my personal information, right? Let's see what the bank can do for me. But as I mentioned, the first thing they're going to look at is do a soft credit check and look at her personal credit, just to make sure if they can honor her, a line of credit for the business.
Can I ask you a question? So say they do that soft credit check, right? And it doesn't come out to be the 700. Are there steps that they could give me? Like, okay, well, we want to, like, if I'm passionate about being with this institution, can that person that's servicing me be like, look, these are the things you need to do, so that way in the next 6 months you could come back here and we can get started on what you need. Like, I don't want other people to feel like, okay, I go in there and they say, oh, well, no, we can't help you. And then that's it. Like, is there a way they can say like, well, we can help you get on track by doing this within this institution, if that makes sense?
No, absolutely, yeah. And the first thing they're going to tell you is, hey, let's start working on your personal credit.
Okay.
Right. This is some of the things that you can start doing. So, for example, right, I always advise business clients, hey, use your debit card, to make sure you're covering your expenses for the business, right? Even if you're getting a donation, right? Make sure either they issue you a check or they sell you to your business account, right? But then the first thing that I'll say, some banks provide secure loans, which is basically with your own money, and that's one way that you can start building business credit.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Right.
explain. I've gotten one of those as a good way to get credit, even if you have shit credit. Can you explain what that is?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So let's say secure credit card, right? Typically we're used to, while growing up, hey, I want to go and open a bank account. And what we do typically is use that debit card for everything, right? That debit card does not help you build credit. Because again,
Because it's your own money.
it's your own money typically, right? And not only that, if you don't have money on that debit card, it's not going anywhere.
Right.
Another thing is that it's not reporting to the credit bureaus. Anything that you do with your debit card does not report to your credit bureau. So one of the things that I'm always telling clients, hey, open up a secure credit card. Typically, right, we spend at least $500 a month. Right? If it's gas, if it's supermarket, right? If we go out shopping, right? $500, right? Grab that same $500, put it on a secure credit card, right? Use at least 30% of that credit, right? Swipe that credit card and make sure you make the payments on time. Don't go by the due date of the credit card. You want to go by the statement date. And if you can make 2 monthly payments, that would even hack the system 2 times better.
And I know what it is, but what is a secure credit card?
And so the secure credit
I
card
didn't get
basically
one of those.
you're putting right your own money on a card, right, that the bank is going to give you, and that credit card, every time you use it and you make the payments on time, it's going to report to the credit bureaus, and that's how you start establishing a payment history.
And you can make it. You can make that credit card as much as you have the money to put on it.
That's correct, yes. So typically the bank would do anywhere from $200 all the way up to $2,500.
So it's basically a debit card that they're treating like a credit card.
It is a credit card.
But but the money you put in there, is that the limit? So
That's the limit.
That's
yes.
the
That's a
limit
good
that you can
question.
spend with it.
And
Right.
what I advise clients is only use 30% of that limit.
Right.
Okay.
All right. Just use 30% of that.
Well, now, why 30%? What's the significance of that number?
Because you don't want to show the credit bureaus a high risk that you're depending on credit. So let me just give you an example, right?
Okay.
Let's say you have 3 credit cards, right? And each credit card has a limit of $1,000. Your available credit, the way they look at it is that you only have $3,000, right? And if you're using all of it, it's kind of like, you have $3,000 in credit and you're basically using all of the credit. Now, if you only use 30%, it's kind of like, it's just depending on 30%, and that's what they recommend.
That's the number that they're comfortable with.
Absolutely.
They're like, you're being responsible.
Absolutely.
Trying
And
to
for
cash
them
out.
to approve you, for anything else, the possibilities are 10 times higher.
Now to build off that, like, so you said earlier we can add, kids to our credit. So
He's still on that. He said,
about to have like 10, 20 cards tomorrow.
hey, dropping gems. So are we? An alternative to that would be, what if I don't want to put him on, my credit card? Could I open up a credit card like that, a secure credit card in his name, and he can have that where I can just put money on it?
You can, but he has to be 18.
Ah, so he has to be 18 for that. Okay,
For a
gotcha.
secure
so I
credit
guess
card,
it's the
he
thing
has
out
to
of the kids.
hold it and use it.
And that's
Almost
one
had
of the
it
things
there.
that I always tell
You gotta ask questions. You gotta
right?
know.
We have students going to college, and it's kind of like, all right, let me open a bank account. And it's kind of like, all right, hey, have you thought about building credit? And they look at you like, what are you talking about? But one of the things that I'm always telling them, listen, you want to start building credit now at a young age. Therefore, by the time you come out of college and you want to get a car loan, you already have credit.
Just bring it. Yeah.
So now, of course, credit is king, right? Now I'm always nervous about going to a bank and asking for credit because, like, if let's say I get approved for 20 G's, all right, and
10 G's on Pokemon cards tomorrow.
and like I invest $10,000 into
The People's
like
Assembly.
yes, no, something where it's like self-serving, right? So let's say
Fuck them kids, that's what
like
you saying?
like if I buy like I can't buy Google stock with that with that credit, right? Or I can literally buy anything I want.
the way we're living right now,
Yeah.
you can use a credit card for anything.
So I could buy Bitcoin with it if I wanted to.
There
and
you
things
go.
like that.
I knew it was coming. Something
Like,
cryptocurrency.
no,
something.
because the thing is, it's like, okay, I get this money from y'all. I technically, if I take the 10 G's, you give me 20 G's, I take 10 G's. I put it into something and it crashes. I made a mistake, or I didn't calculate right. I owe you 10. I still owe you 10 G's.
Correct.
Right?
And that's the reason why the banks wants to know who am I giving that money to? Because even
Right.
though you represent a company, right, you're the person who's gonna swipe that card.
Right. And so, I mean, I'm sure it happens where like you show you have a successful business line, you paying your things off, da 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 da, and then it's like, oh, I thought I was gonna hit with this, and now I'm stuck. And so would that bring your credit score down, or only when you couldn't pay that back in the time that they expect, right? That would affect your credit negatively.
It will affect your personal credit.
Okay.
Absolutely. Because remember, if you cannot pay your business credit cards, then they're gonna go after your personal.
See,
Yeah, and that's the reason why, you know.
As a general rule, you would probably say don't use credit for stocks, right?
I wouldn't recommend it. No.
Okay.
Did you hear that?
That would be high risk.
That would definitely be a high risk.
Right.
I was going to say stupid, but high risk definitely sounds.
Yeah, man. Hey, man. And so then what about but then you hear like people claiming bankruptcy, right? And then some people use bankruptcy strategically.
Yeah, I want to know about that too.
So can you explain just what bankruptcy is, right? The definition, and then how some people use bankruptcy, strategically,
Like Tony Braxton.
like Donald Trump.
So
50 Cent.
So listen, it's strategically. You said it. You said it better than myself.
Right.
And I haven't said anything yet.
But
Everything. This is the way I look at it, right? If you know you have a business, right, and you owe, let's say, $500,000, and you're producing $100,000, does it make sense for you to pay that $500,000, or to go to a lawyer and say, hey, listen, I think this year I'm going to file bankruptcy?
For the business or for it has to be personal?
Either or.
Okay.
Business or personal. Or even, let's keep it simple, personal, right? Listen, I lost my job. I'm not making any money. I'm not going to work my ass off to pay $500,000 where I could just pay $10,000 and do a bankruptcy. And then 2 years from that day, I could start building credit again.
Oh, okay.
So that's a different conversation.
So then what stops somebody from, let's say, like you start how long theoretically, like how many years would you be able to go from starting a credit to a 700? Is there a way to do it in 6 months, or is that impossible? Like you need to have a 5-year track record, or you know what I'm saying? Like,
No, it's not impossible.
so you could do it in 6 months. Like you could raise your thing 400% points.
So it depends where you stand, right? Because let's just say, right? Let's say your credit score is at 300, 400, or 500.
Damn, how you get 300?
You have to really
You'd
look
be
at
surprised.
what's there, right? Because remember, maybe you lost your job and everything just went
Not
down the
touche,
road.
baby.
But it really depends where your credit stand. But it is possible to get your credit from, let's say 650 to 700 in less than 6 months.
How?
And then so how? What would be some like things that you have seen people do?
Okay.
That to get it that high up in that short amount of time.
Okay, perfect. So a few things, right? If you have family members or friends that they have good credit, number one, they have high credit cards with high limits, and they're willing to add you as an authorized user, remember that credit history is going to carry over to you now. That's one, right? Two, let's say if you have your own personal credit cards, right, and the limits are very low, you can call the credit card companies and say, hey, I want you guys to raise my limit. There's a possibility that they can say yes or no, but that's another way, because the trick to credit is to have the availability, right? Credit availability. Therefore, the score can go up. Does it make sense?
Okay. So the more money they're willing to give you,
The more money you have on credit available and less usage, the higher the credit score is.
all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm like 780 something, but I only use like 5% of my credit.
Which is great.
Yeah.
Which is great. Remember I mentioned that
Dang.
30%?
Yeah, I only because I don't be buying shit.
Got
man.
money.
Sound like
Maybe like-
Americans about to get that
Maybe like-
factory.
Maybe like to my students out there, the snacks are coming. Okay, he got it. The snacks are coming. Okay, he said, "I got
got you,
780."
man.
Like that. Like that wasn't like.
but the
something
thing is
big.
I'm scared of credit. Like I don't like I feel like it's some loan shark shit. You know what I'm saying? Like you know, like I don't like if they get into we can approve you for 100,000. It's like Jesus. Like I've never held that much money in my hands before. I wouldn't even. I would have an idea of what to do with it, but I would be terrified to have that much money that's not even mine, that I didn't mine out of the earth. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Let me ask you
out the
something.
earth is crazy.
How much money do you spend in cash every month?
maybe about like 1,000, 1,500.
All right, 1,500 cash.
Yeah,
Okay.
right, of my own bread from what I earn.
So,
Yeah,
and that's monthly.
Yeah,
That's monthly, right? So let's just keep it at 1,500, right? So let's say you're spending $1,500 cash every month. I'm going to times that by 5%. If you have a credit card that every month gives you $75, would you use it?
no,
Why not?
because I can't do shit with $75.
That's $900 in a year.
Right, but $900 a year. Okay,
It's $900.
that's $900. But if for 365 days,
But you're already
that's $3 a day.
But you're already spending $1,500 every month.
Right.
Why
And remember, that's just one credit card that, let's just say, gives you 5%.
Oh, okay.
Remember, there's other credit cards that gives you more.
It could be a secure, right? You could do a secure that way.
I think he means
No,
like
not,
reward.
not
Not
to
secure?
give you 5%. No.
He's saying like
Oh,
reward.
it's awards.
Where I
Oh,
was going.
So for using the card, I get money back. Like
Back.
that's what you mean, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Right,
So I'm going
right.
to Miami next week.
Right.
Right. With 4 of my friends. Right. They was like, hey, let's book the flight. Let's book the Airbnb. Let's get the car.
Let's use my card.
Let's use my card. Right. My trip is free. I'm not paying anything for it. Right. Why? I put everything on my credit card. Right. We're getting. I think it's like $200 for using. I'm getting $200 for using this rental company for the car. So again, it's a win-win situation. We were supposed to pay cash, but why pay cash when you can use a credit card and gain something out of it? Not only that, you're reporting to the credit bureaus, and that's what you want. Because remember, 5 years from today, you might say, hey, you know what? I want to get this $500,000 house, or I want to get this G-Wagon. First thing they're going to look at, all right, let's see how far back you have credit. And remember, that debit card doesn't do anything for you.
No.
That cash money doesn't do anything for you. So why not use the white man's money?
At this point, it's a cashless society. That's what it sounds
And
like.
there's also like for business, right? A big reason why. Let's say, for example, for business, let's say Splatterkit starts bringing in, like let's say $1,000 a month, right? So you have a $12,000 profit, right? But let's say, like you. Like there's expenses to get that $12,000, right? Or you want to go buy something, right? Like you want to go buy
An embroidery machine.
right? A bunch of stuff, right? Like you can go and take out like a loan, right? Let's say a $30,000 loan. And now when you spend that money, right, it's gonna be a deduction. Let's say you spend the whole $30,000, you're gonna get money back. You're gonna lower your income. You can lower your income to fucking zero, spending enough, right? So now you're getting money back on your deductions, and you didn't actually have to spend any of your own money. So you kept your money, it's in your pocket, and you've maximized the amount of deductions you can get for the year. Assuming you wanted to spend the money.
Right.
You feel me? Like, it's like, let's say if there's a big business expense coming, right? If you spend your own money, then you have the thing you want, but you have $0. But if you spend the bank's money, you spent the money, you got a deduction, which is going to get you more money in your taxes, and you still have your money in your pocket.
And just to add to that, right? Let's say you decide to open up a business, right? First thing they're gonna look at is your credit. So if on your personal credit you got, let's just say $100,000 worth of a billable credit, once you open that LLC, now you're gonna have $500,000. Because again, when you open a credit card, a personal credit card, you might get approved for $5, $10, $15, $20,000. But when you do it under a business,
Right.
we're talking about 50, 100, or up to 200,000.
Because what we understand from our last episode with Chris McCrae, if using your social security number, you're telling the bank you're a consumer, but with an LLC, you're telling the bank you're a producer. And so they're more willing to give money to a producer because you're going to make them more money, make the country more money, and all the incentives.
Bingo.
Right.
Right. There you go. Yeah.
Yeah. That makes sense.
So when you started the People's Assembly, did you go to a bank at all or no?
So when I started the People's Assembly, I went through a church. So they handled like all of the paperwork I had to do, what forms I needed to fill out to establish my nonprofit status. I had to register with the Charity Bureau of New York. So that's like the telephone book pages of all the charities that in New York, you have to register with them. They did all of that paperwork because I was scared of like getting it wrong myself. And I didn't want nobody coming to ask me no questions or like why this was done this way. So I went through them. And the same thing with like filing my 990. Like I sent them all of like my bank statements, all the donations I received, and then they filed it for me because it was easier. For me, it's easier to go through an entity, especially a church, because they are a nonprofit all 365 days a year. So they know what like needs to be reported, what forms needed to be filed. So I opened up our bank account when I went viral. Like I was just like, the money was coming in. I'm like, this is too much. And I don't want it in my personal account. So we just going to establish the People's Assembly. They have their own bank account. So
does the People's Assembly have credit? Or
no,
is it just
because they're still looking at my personal credit. So that's what I'm in the process of doing is fixing. Like they don't like, but it's like also too, like the bank that I have right now is not really, I don't think they really are doing the best by me.
You want to start with a small bank.
Yeah, and that's the problem. I think I went to a
So
big,
the big banks, the big banks, remember they're looking for that big fish.
they looking for like St. Jude, and I ain't got St. Jude.
St. Jude got crazy money?
Yo, in the eyes of-
They own that song.
Okay.
I'll tell you a few names, a few banks that you can go to, and
Yes.
keep in mind,
Maybe I could just like, I don't know, like just connect with you and you just do everything and I just pay you.
we're gonna work something out. Absolutely. We'll work
Yeah,
something
because that I can't like, and it's not saying, let me not say I can't. I have so much going on in my brain of as far as like what I want to do for the People's Assembly, and it's like whether I have $1, $2, 50 cents, it's gonna get done for the People's Assembly. But I need someone to make it easier for me.
And that's why this is so important, because like in our community, we got a lot of passionate people. We got a lot of passionate people, bright people who want to create their own business. And they are so not blinded by the passion, but so consumed by it, they forget about the business part, that you need to build your credit.
That'd be me.
Yep.
So
And also like the business side is something you have to learn, right? And so it could be intimidating, right? Because a lot of creatives weren't really good at writing and doing math and all the other academic, boring, monotonous stuff. But the thing is like you have to have a level of understanding. And so when you're like, wait, I have to open an LLC, I have to have a bank account, I have to have a QuickBooks, I gotta have all this, I gotta keep track of all this, I gotta do my own math and make sure. And then it's like,
me
bro, nah,
anxiety
fuck
as
that.
you say it
I'm-
out loud.
Like this is way too crazy. And so I feel like it may not be gatekeeping, but it's like
It's a learning curve.
it's a learning curve, and it can be intimidating.
No, and just to add to that, we do have a lot of like small businesses that they don't know anything about credit, or they don't know how to get funding for their business, right? So that's something that we try somewhere to kind of like, hey, who's your accountant? You want to go to someone, and you want to make sure that accountant is your best friend, because, for example, daycares. Back in 2020, 2021, the state was giving $50,000. You want to start a daycare, right? As long as you have all the paperwork aligned, $50,000 to start your business.
I should have started a daycare. My kids was home the entire time. What's a couple more kids? Come on.
Shoot, lunchtime, snack time.
Legos for everybody.
Right.
How many extra kids you need?
No, listen, and
Can they have your
these are
same last
things-
name?
These are things that, as we talked earlier, that we don't know, right? We don't know. We don't know where to get the info from, right?
So
and something that you mentioned, right? If I want to start a business, should I use my money,
Right.
right? If you have credit, right? Get the state money.
That's what I need help with. Like, I need the state to give me the money. Like, it's so, like, I applied for the David Prize. I don't know, any of y'all heard of the David Prize?
I heard of it.
Let the people know what it is.
So the David Prize is,
past stage 2? Yo, you in?
I got past, so let me just,
Stage 1, I mean.
What is it? What is it? What is it first?
all right,
I don't know what
so the David Prize is an organization that they pick 5 New Yorkers, just 5, and they offer $200K unrestricted.
Unrestricted, yeah.
Unrestricted. So if you got an idea, you apply. Like, someone talked about like having like levitated like subway cars, and like it don't matter what the idea it is, you just submit the idea, right? So for me, I'm like, 200K unrestricted. Do you know what the people, we could have like mobile in the 5 boroughs with 200K. And it's like, I made it past phase 1, which is like the application process. I made it past phase 2, which is big. Now, even if you are not one of the 5 New Yorkers, they still connect you to different like other funding, different other opportunities. You still get like the media highlight. Like, they still make sure like, okay, you didn't get this 200K, but let's connect you to other things. So I've applied for that.
You heard back since step 2?
So I got like a email, like they're still looking through. So I'm like, okay, that's good. And they say it takes about a year for them to pick who they want out of the 5. So I feel like if I made it past phase 1 and 2, I'm okay with whether if I get when I get that 200K or if I don't get that 200K, right? It's still like the process of applying for something. And I know like sometimes when I'm applying for like certain grants, it comes off a little bit intimidating, like some of the language that be asking. And I'm just like, no, like, I don't want y'all to think like this money is for play. Like, this is real life. There's real shit happening in my community that needs to be fixed.
There's a lot of money out there, man.
Yo,
it's a learning curve, but there's a lot of money out there.
And I just be like, if I had the access to it, or if I can, like right now I have someone who helps me with grant writing, right? Okay. Which is the best investment I've made so far with DPA. Like, he is someone that is familiar with the nonprofit sector, so he knows what language needs to be said. He knows what research that needs to be happening. Because it's like, at the end of the day, I'm still an educator. I have to have someone on my team to help me. And I can't, no longer, DPA can't be run by myself. Like, I need the grant writer. Yeah. I need the financial help. Hint, hint, wink, wink. Right? And I just need that, because I know that when we do become like a big nonprofit, they could see like, no, she really did the groundwork and like really sought out these resources.
I mean, that's what it takes, man. It sounds like we're gonna need a part 2 for this.
I got one more. I got one more thing I just want to ask real quick, right? 'Cause I know you mentioned it a bunch of times. Like, you needed your credit fixed. So like, what's your opinion of like those fast, quick fix credit companies?
Or the
like,
ones that get cash forgiveness now, like or credit forgiveness now. Are they scams?
What do they do?
Like, sound scams while the guy that was talking, like, are you in debt?
Yeah. It's like, hey,
the
come
IRS.
Are you in pain? Do you need law?
Right. Shoot.
What do they do? Like,
So I wouldn't recommend them.
Okay,
I wouldn't
that makes
recommend
sense.
them because what they do is they'll negotiate for you, right? In order to get all your debt out, but then they'll charge you almost 2 times what you owed.
What?
Yeah.
So how? But then how? How? First off, how is
about
that?
like national debt relief and shit like that? Right?
I'm talking about the small companies.
The small companies that advertise that stuff. So first off, how? I mean, we're getting close to time. How are they allowed to continue to do that and not be considered a scam? It's because they're offering you a service, and that's their price.
But it's also still cheaper than you paying off the debt, right?
But he said it's double the double what you owe, with the debt you were gonna pay already.
It'll be double. It'll be at least double.
so I'm guessing
Double
that.
of what you owe, or double what you could have negotiated.
Of what you owed.
Damn.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, how could those continue to exist?
Because
I feel like
sustainable.
what they'll do is they'll buy off your debt, right? Let's say you owe $20,000, right?
Right.
They'll buy off your debt. They'll renegotiate, They'll spend maybe $7,000, but at the end, you'll be spending double.
So for you, and then you would owe that company $40,000.
There you go.
But I think the difference is like,
14.
I think
14.
Oh,
Right.
So not double what you owe the bank.
No, no,
Double
What they
got
paid.
off.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Right.
what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, so
that's
then
what
it
they're
is
doing.
less. So instead of 20,000, you pay 14,000.
Right,
$6,000.
I know.
But what they
Right.
did is that they negotiated. So you can negotiate. You can negotiate.
You can do that yourself.
Huh?
or you can
Where?
You can negotiate.
Where's it at?
Just an FYI, right? Just an FYI. Let's say if you go into debt collection, right? Right. If they're calling you, they're constantly calling you. Hey, we're calling you from X, Y, and Z, right? Just let them know straight up. Hey, listen. All right. Who you're trying to talk to. All right. Whatever you're telling me, send it to me in writing. You have all my information. I don't have to give you anything because you already have it. Send me all that information in writing. And don't forget to send me that contract that I signed for that debt that you're trying to collect. If they don't have that contract that you signed for, let's say, that car that you purchased, right? It's a done deal. You just basically start your process with the credit bureaus, and then you can get that removed. So the thing is educating the people to, hey, you do have options, right? Sometimes we're like, oh, sure, I owe this company $7,000, right? But remember, they're debt collectors. If they don't have that information, right, or that contract that you sign, it's a done deal. You can get that removed from your credit report.
Yeah, I worked something called, I think it was called Claro for the summer, and it was a debt court, like credit card debt court. And the big thing was, by the time they bring you to court, 9 times out of 10, your debt has been sold to another party. And there are laws that basically say that, let's say Chase sold your credit to this company, and like it's a company that buys debt. That's all it does. They can only sell the debt, like the ownership of the debt, but they can't sell your like your financial information. Like they can't sell your social security card. And on your contract for that debt was all this pertinent information that they cannot give to this other person. So because of that, these people are walking around with a receipt from Chase saying, I own Jack's debt. But in a court of law, they would not be able to actually prove it. So you can go into that part and you can sit there and maybe you can, the negotiation at that point, if it's $1,000, it'll be like, I'll drop it to 100 because they bought that debt pennies on the dollar. Or you can just sit there and go, let's go to trial, baby. Because if I, like, you take me on the stand and I simply go, I don't recall ever having this debt. They're going to be stuck in a situation where they don't got much left. And then a judge is going to sit there and say, you don't owe it. And then you're going to have a final resolution from a court saying that this person doesn't actually own your debt. And like Randy said, you can get it removed at that point. You'd have to then start a whole new process. But, woo!
That was intense.
A lot of good
That was intense. And I'm just sitting there like, Lord, I got more work to do. I got work to do.
Always more work for you, man. So
No, seriously, like I'm dead ass. Like I really don't want to do anything. I just wanted to tell me, Bridget, this is the information I need, and I give it to you. And Bridget, this is what we're gonna do. Okay. Like I'm not saying I don't want to learn. That's not what I'm saying. I still want you to tell me what the hell is happening. Okay. But in the quickest and laymanest, that's not even a word. That's not even a word. In the quickest terms possible.
Randy's gonna hold you down. We gonna figure this out.
Yes, please, Lord Jesus.
We gotta get out of here.
Yes, because
great conversation. I'm really happy you guys both came.
Yeah.
And before we leave, we gotta shout out the artist of the week this week. The artist of the week is Zeus Rivera. I don't know why I said it so weirdly.
Yeah, like you gotta say it. Zeus
yeah,
Rivera.
that's what you gotta say. Zeus Rivera, yes. From he has a brand called Study Hall. I'm actually rocking his shirt.
All right,
He
Study Hall.
He actually dropped these off for the prior episode.
Okay.
That's nice.
He has a brand.
It's looking fitted on you. Go ahead, you. I see you.
Crossfit open.
Yeah, it gives you little muscles.
But yeah, the website is studyhallny.com. Check it out. It's a brand that's been around for 6 months. It's all centered around the kind of study hall, learning stuff theme. And yeah, check out the website. It's a great brand, and check out the episode that he was on. It was also a great conversation.
All right, and then this episode is also sponsored by Splaticus right here. I cut y'all a check so y'all make sure y'all look good. We are a clothing brand that creates one-of-one pieces, and we also have mass-produced pieces, but everything is customized and colored to your liking. Yeah, anybody can cop, but only you're the only one that has it. So,
Hey, keep cutting them checks with that good ass credit too. You know?
Yeah,
I shouldn't have said that shit. Now everybody go, be like, yo, Jack, you got that good credit. Run that, boy. Let me get a
I'm
piece.
dead tag. I'm like, if you looking for somebody that got good credit,
I be scared to use it, bro. I'm a squirrel. I collect my nuts, man. I don't know.
yo.
Hey, on that one. No. So what they're saying, right? To be clear for our audience, because I actually read that article. I didn't look at that. But what they said was
Dropping gems like we preaching. Don't overstep the line of our freedom of speaking. We cast to the world, put the words in the street and connecting all the minds of the people we reaching.
Yo,
Jury's out.
tempted to get fenced in and contempting. Teach you motherfuckers a lesson and pressing the issue at hand. Nah, I don't care about objections, suspensions, and cell inspections. Just suppression of black lives is my passion. And love for my fam is everlasting. So stop gassing these asses with glasses. Cause in the end, I leave them where the trash is.
Jury's out. Jury's out. Jury's out. Jury's
It's
out.
what we about, and we kick it to the masses. Trying to spit the law as we laugh off our asses. Breaking down the latest shit, carrying crazy lady shit. Glad I ain't got no baby shit. COVID got me crazy, bitch. Damn. And you gon' have to edit this. The jury's out, so you can't even credit us. No statements null and void, invalid evidence. No, you can't take us to court, cause you know.
Jury's out.